What's up guys, it's Chris Majestic, and after a whole year, it's finally time to review the Samsung Premier. So it's been exactly a year that I've been trying to get my hands on the Samsung LSP9T, also known as the Samsung Premier. Well, instead of waiting on Samsung, I decided to take matters into my own hands and buy one so I can give you guys my thoughts on it. So this is the Samsung Premier, an ultra short throw 4K laser projector that has two variants. There's the cheaper LSP7T, which retails for $3,500, and the more expensive LSP9T, which retails for $6,500. And that price doesn't even include a screen. The biggest differences between these two is that the less expensive version has a longer throw ratio, so it sits farther from the wall, less color accuracy, less brightness, and less powerful speakers. So what I have with me today is the LSP9T, and I was lucky enough to get it while it was on sale at Best Buy for $5,500, even though the price has since gone back up. So in the box, you get a user manual and documentation, a power cord, Samsung's very familiar smart voice remote, batteries for the remote, and of course the projector. So the Premier is only available in white, and even though I would have preferred black, it does have a really clean design. It has light gray fabric covering the front that hides a pair of 40-watt speakers, and on the bottom you'll find adjustable feet. There are no visible buttons on the top, front, or sides, and of course all of your ports are on the back. So as you can see, aside from the ports, there is the power button there on the back. It also has an optical audio output, USB port, 3 HDMI ports with eARC support, an Ethernet port, an EX-Link port, which is basically RS-232, and a coax input since it has a built-in TV tuner. So with a price tag of $6,500, what do you get? Well, it has a native 4K resolution using pixel shifting with the 0.66-inch DLP chip, a triple laser light source which produces 2800 lumens, great color accuracy covering 106% of BT 2020. It has HDR10, HLG, HGIG, and HDR10 Plus support, which is a first here on the channel, a 4.2 channel speaker setup, an insane 0.18 to 1 throw ratio, allowing it to produce a 100-inch screen from about 4.5 inches away. It supports screen sizes between 100 and 130 inches. It has eARC support over HDMI, so you can get Dolby Atmos to your home theater receiver, HDMI CEC, which I always like to see. It also has built-in Wi-Fi, Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant support, and it runs Samsung's Tizen OS, which gives it an edge over the competition. And unfortunately, it does not have 3D for you 3D fans. So when it comes to installation, the LSP9T has the best throw ratio out there, producing a 100-inch screen from just 4.5 inches away. The only other laser TV with a similar throw is the LG HU85LA. This throw ratio makes it much easier to put it on whatever TV stand you have without needing to pull the stand farther away from the wall like you have to do with pretty much every other ultra short throw, including the LSP7T. And there are several settings to help you get the image aligned on your screen properly, including an electronic focus and 15-point keystone correction. And even though it does sit really close to the wall, it does still have eye protection sensors that will dim the lasers if it senses something too close. So Samsung claims that you can use the Premier without a screen, but if you're paying $6,500 or even $3,500 for one of these, I would absolutely recommend grabbing a screen. The cost of ALR screens has dropped significantly over the years, and they allow the projector to look its best, especially in a bright room. So to test out this projector today, I'll be using the lenticular CLR screen that came with the Hisense L5, which works great. And if you don't want to spend 2 hours fighting with putting a fixed frame ambient light rejecting screen together, you could grab something like this Vivid Storm S Pro Tension floor screen, which literally takes seconds to set up. You just take it out of the box, plug it in, hit a button, and you get a huge ALR screen that works perfectly for an ultra short throw projector. This is really helpful if you want something that's portable or if you plan on pulling out the laser TV on special occasions. And I will put a link to this in the video description for anyone who is interested. So Samsung has been making smart TVs for a long time now, so Tizen OS is one of the more mature smart TV platforms, and it works great on the Premier. You get access to all of the popular streaming apps out there, including Disney+, Netflix, Apple TV, Amazon, HBO Max, and Hulu, and they all work perfectly. And if you're into voice assistant, Samsung also lets you choose between their own Bixby assistant, Amazon Alexa or the Google Assistant. It even comes with Apple AirPlay support. And even though it's super simple, Samsung's Smart Voice Remote works great. It controls the projector via RF so you don't have to aim it. The buttons are multifunction and it has a nice overall feel to it. The only thing I don't like is that it's not backlit, which is kind of a bummer, especially at this price point. And aside from a great operating system, another one of the benefits of buying a laser TV from a major TV manufacturer is that their picture modes are great and easy to use. Dynamic mode works great for daytime viewing as it boosts the brightness and color saturation, which can be helpful when fighting ambient light. Standard mode is the most versatile and works best for most situations as it tones down some of the saturation for a more accurate image that looks good during the day or at night. Movie mode looked okay, but it does add a yellow tinge to the image that I don't personally find appealing, and filmmaker mode looks very similar to movie mode. I mostly found myself using standard mode with the picture clarity settings like frame interpolation turned off. The contrast enhancer setting is also helpful since the medium and high settings do a great job increasing the contrast, which can help brighten the image during the day, or you can lower this setting or turn it off to bring out more detail, which is helpful at night. And when it comes to image quality, the Premiere is fantastic. If you've only ever seen the less expensive single or dual laser TVs, then you'll notice an immediate improvement with the 3-laser system. Colors are super vibrant and the image is nice and bright. And since it doesn't use a color wheel, I didn't notice any rainbow effect. Even with SDR content, I was able to see shadow and highlight detail that I'm not able to see on other laser TVs. And aside from contrast and brightness, this projector has fantastic sharpness and focus uniformity. With previous laser TVs, it was pretty common to see soft focus in the upper corners of the screen, but with the last few laser TVs that I've reviewed, this hasn't been an issue, which is a welcome change. Now, like most DLP laser TVs, the Premiere does lack a bit on black levels, but I do have to say that the black levels were noticeably better than the Hisense L9G. Considering the use case for these laser TVs, they're meant to prioritize brightness and color vibrance over black levels since they're meant to be used as large TV replacements, so you have to go in knowing this. Now that being said, I think the black levels from the LSP9T are about average for a bright laser TV. And when it comes to HDR, I have to say that I was fairly impressed with the detail from this projector. So as I mentioned earlier, I immediately noticed that I was able to see far more detail in the highlights and shadows from this projector compared to others. This makes for a great HDR experience with a bright image that doesn't crush detail in the highlights. Even though the black levels from this projector aren't great, you still get great shadow detail, and tweaking the settings allows you to adjust the contrast if you prefer an image that's less flat. And for you gamers out there, the gaming performance from the Premiere was good. I measured the input lag around 47 milliseconds with both 1080p and 4K, which is a bit too high for hardcore gamers, but okay for most people. I will say that the brightness and HDR performance does make for great gameplay, especially in games with a lot of dark scenes that benefit from shadow detail. And since it has HDR10 as well as HGIG support, it allows for dynamic tone mapping from games that support it. Alright, so what are these 4.2 channel speakers all about? Well, the LSP9T is equipped with 40-watt internal speakers that comes with what Samsung calls acoustic beam technology, which is supposed to give it a larger soundstage. And in my testing, I found that the built-in speakers sound pretty good and add a good amount of height to the sound, which is helpful when using a large screen. Now, I did want the soundstage to be a bit wider at times, so I would say that they sound slightly above average compared to most laser TV speakers. If you're not picky about sound quality, then they will work just fine for TV shows and occasional movies, but I would definitely recommend a separate sound system. And the fan noise was actually pretty quiet from this projector. I did notice a very faint laser whine when booting up, but it faded away after just a few seconds. Honestly, most times I could barely tell it was powered on, even with bright scenes, which is great. Alright, so the LSP9T appears to be one of the best laser TVs in terms of image quality, but what are the caveats? Well, the first thing is black levels. Even though the black levels are slightly better than the Hisense L9G, they could still be better. As I said earlier, I think the blacks are about average for a bright DLP, but there were times where I wanted to see deeper blacks on dark scenes. And the next thing is something that I saw a lot of people mention online, and that's laser speckle. Now, I've honestly never heard of this term until now, and it's a little hard to explain, but the best way to describe it is that the lasers produce a glittery effect on the screen that can be a bit distracting, especially if you're sitting close to the screen. Now, I didn't notice it at first, but after watching TV for a few minutes, I couldn't unsee it unless I was sitting at least 8 or 9 feet away. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a deal breaker, but it can be a bit distracting with bright scenes. And the next thing is color accuracy. Now, even though the LSP9T has really high color accuracy, I found it difficult to get the colors to look right to my eyes. Now, I'm not super picky about color, but I do quickly notice when colors are a little off, and I never really got the colors quite to my liking. Skin tones and certain yellow hues just seemed a little off, which was more noticeable with SDR content. Now, considering this laser system is capable of producing accurate colors, I'm sure if I spent more time going deep into the settings, I could get it perfect, but with the limited time I was working with, I couldn't get the color quite dialed in. And the last thing I want to mention is that even though this projector does have eARC, I wasn't able to get Dolby Atmos or other lossless audio formats to my home theater receiver from some of the apps. So I couldn't get Atmos from Plex or Disney Plus, even though I did get it to work in Netflix. Now, this isn't a huge deal, but considering this is the whole entire purpose of eARC, I did figure it was worth mentioning. Now, even with those minor drawbacks, I still think the LSP9T is among the best laser TVs. Last week, I reviewed the Hisense L9G, which I suspected might be the best, and after spending more time with the Samsung, I'd say it's really close. The Hisense is brighter, has more features, and has better out-of-box color, which makes it a better option for daytime viewing. And the Samsung has better black levels and better tone mapping, which produces better shadows and highlights in HDR. And compared to the LG HU85LA, I would say both the Samsung and the Hisense look better overall, even though the LG does have much better black levels. But if you're tossed between these projectors, I'd say it comes down to what you're going to be using it for. Now, in the Hisense review, I did ask you guys if you'd be interested in a head-to-head video with the Samsung and the Hisense, and a bunch of you guys did want to see it, so I am going to do that video, and I am still waiting on the updated version of the Viva Chroma to come in the mail, so if you're not already, go ahead and make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you get notified when the new unit comes in. And hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, go ahead and make sure you mash that like button for me. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.